So let's take this this category, anxiety, biggie for therapeutic practice, and the notion of generalized anxiety. What's different in your view? How the DSM-5 take on generalized anxiety?
Well, what they're going to stress is that everybody on our planet has a worry or two, or three or four. And what they're going to stress basically is that in order to acquire the diagnosis of the generalized anxiety disorder, that constant fretting, worrying, and anxiety has to be excessive. It almost has to border on worrying about things that are unlikely to occur, okay? So, for instance, around this time of year, we all begin to worry about the flu, all right? An individual with a generalized anxiety disorder will, however, their worry is we're all going to die from the flu. It's a guarantee. We're all going to, it's the end of the world as we know it. We're all concerned about global warming. Regardless of your perspective, we're all concerned about global warming. An individual with a generalized anxiety disorder fully believes that we're all going to blow up in a puff of flame because of global warming. It's the end of the world. We know it. So they have a tendency to catastrophize. That's number one. In order to have the men and women with generalized anxiety disorder are not those folks who are concerned about things. This concern has to be excessive and oftentimes focused on things that are unlikely to occur. And then the second aspect, it must significantly impair important areas of functioning, vocationally, occupationally, relationally, or socially. It must impair functioning. And unless you have that excessive, unrealistic worry, which is chronic, which is consistent for 6 months, more days than not, and also interfering with functioning, you don't have the diagnosis. But the beauty of this is they begin to delve into childhood and adolescent displays of generalized anxiety. And one of the issues that they talk about, that I've been talking about literally for decades in my programs on suicide, has been generalized anxiety disorder in children and adolescents that's focused on performance anxiety, fretting and worrying around athletic and academic pursuits. We've known for decades that this is a correlate to suicide in children and adolescents, and now for the first time the DSM-5 is bringing this to our attention. And this, I think, was a wonderful, wonderful inclusion, recognizing that children with generalized anxiety disorder and adolescents with generalized anxiety disorder are often those folks who are overly worried about their performance in athletic or academic realms. And when we see that, we've got to be extremely concerned about that correlate to suicide. And I know you and I were talking earlier about one of the beautiful aspects of this book that I so deeply appreciate is it now is devoted to risk factors for suicide. It talks to us about risk factors for suicide.